Now in this video, I'm super excited to introduce mentor Stella. She's been with Trader's Edge for quite a few years now and been a stock and options trader herself for several decades. She jumped in on one of our webinars and taught about some of the basics of the money press. You're really gonna love this one. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or you're waiting to place your first money press trade, you're gonna get a ton out of this video.
This is the option chain for this coming Friday on iShares SLV Silver Trust. The stock closed at $22.89. So I want to sell the weekly put next week that's closest to this price. Always on an option chain, you're going to have the calls on the left-hand side here, the strike prices down the middle, and your puts are always going to be on the right side. So the closest, looking at these strike prices, the closest to $22.89 is 23. So we can sell this coming week's option for 46 cents. Remember, that's $46 per contract because you have to multiply that by 100. And so some of you are probably like, oh, $46, no way. Well, think about it. If you do 10 contracts, that's $460. So don't judge this. And this for learning, it is better not to risk a lot of money to start with. So this is the strike I would pick to sell for this coming Friday right now. And I'm doing it from this current price. If you go and look at this on Monday, and you see it trading at 24, which it could, then you'd want to come down here and sell the 24 strike. Or if it's gone down and it's at 22, sell the 22. That's a way that if you're ever unsure of what to sell, I always just try to start off with whatever is closest to the current price. So right now, 23 is what's closest. What we do, and Preston tells y'all this every week, is we're going to come along now and double this amount. So if we receive 46 cents, if you multiply that by 2, we're looking at 92 cents. Now, so we want to spend around 92 cents for our protection. Now, everything is not black and white with trading if you haven't figured that out already. It's very much gray areas, but we do have the mechanics of doubling this and finding something close to it are always the same. So what I want to do, one thing when you go to look for your protection, each stock doesn't always have the same months available. So keep that in mind. That's why we try to do 3 to 4 months out in time, because one stock may not have protection at 3 months. They may only have it at 4 months. This particular index does have it, I know, for July, all of June, so it had pretty good choices. So I chose to look at July. One reason I did this, it's a cheap stock, cheap option. So July 21st, if you come down here, all you have to do is look between the bids and asks for something around 92 cents. Well, the closest we have here and that I highlighted was 22. And it's $1.02 to $1.04. I'm willing to pay, that little extra 10 cents for this protection because we're going to get at least 3 weeks in April, all of May, all of June, and 3 weeks in July. So it's worth it to pay that little extra 10 cents. So that is how I pick our protection. What I like to do next, and I do this every money press trade that I look at, put on, this is exact same process I do before I hit that enter button. I next go and fill out our journal, and we have these journals on WOW and MMP that you can download the master in Excel documents and use. And so what I did is I typed in the date, which was yesterday, the expiration for my protection. The long put protection is always here on the top. The current stock price, which was $22.89. The strike we chose to buy is 22. I do everything figuring with one contract to start off with, and then I determine how many contracts I want to do in my account. And we're going to pay, I took the ask price of $1.04. I then come down to our weekly puts here, and I, typed in yesterday's date. The expiration date is this coming Friday of 4/14. Our stock price was $22.89, and we're going to sell the 23 strike, one contract, and we would receive 46 cents. I took the bid price. I mean, in this case, the spread was really not there. 46 cents bid, 47 cents ask, so you're pretty much going to get the bid. Now, for some of you, what I can now do is I will come up here and look, and I'll see that my margin is 100. Whoops, I can get my cursor. This trade is going to cost me $58 to start off with, and I've added for myself, and I think we have this on the website now, a maximum profit or loss. The most money I would lose in this trade is $158. We're basically looking at a 3-to-1 risk reward here because we're receiving 46 cents, and the worst case is we would lose 158. This rarely do I ever lose the maximum, but this is how I sleep at night, and this is what I know before I hit the enter button. If the stock goes down, and I don't care if it goes down to 10, I'm still only going to lose $158 because if the stock is put to me, all I have to do is exercise my put protection, and I will have exactly a loss of $158 minus your commissions. You don't have to panic when the stock is put to you. You have your long put protection. That's why we buy it, to protect us here. And that's why I know the worst case scenario before I ever hit the enter button. If you do this, you will find that you do not worry, you do not get scared, you're not going to panic, and you can have patience to stay in this trade all week. Now, you don't have to exercise the put protection, but that is something that you can do. So I know now this is the most I could lose for this trade. And this is why I like this trade for any of y'all that are beginners who've never traded a money press. This is a great trade to start off with to learn the mechanics. Most of our money presses, we do like stocks that are in the triple digits. But to learn, it sometimes is good to come down to some cheaper stuff and do an index or an ETF, because then you don't have to worry about earnings. You will notice that I put up here at the next earnings date, no earnings, so I know this. I also like to put the industry and sector on my journal so I know what this company or index does, and I also want to make sure I don't have 10 oil companies, 10 semiconductor chip stocks, etc. on at the same time. Now, what I have put up here is some of y'all don't understand how we get this number 100 for the margin. Margin is calculated by the strike price sold, so in this case, the 23, subtracting the strike price bought, which was the 22, times 100, because one option contracts equals 100 shares, times the number of contracts. So that is how I got the figure of 100 for the margin. We had 23 minus 22 equals 1, times 100 times one contract. Now, if we did 10 contracts, our margin is going to go up to $1,000. If you do 6, it'd be $600. And in the journals, you can adjust these contract numbers and see how it affects your margin and your maximum profit and loss. loss and determine what you're willing to risk. Also, where we have current P&L, when you start a money press trade, that's going to be the number that is debited from your account, the cost of putting this trade on, and that the broker will take out. That is calculated by what you pay for the put protection, our long, minus the weekly put money received, times, once again, 100 for 100 shares of stock, times the number of contracts. So in this example, we had to pay $1.04 for our protection, and we had to subtract the 46 cents that we received. So it's going to cost us 0.58 cents or $58 per contract to start this trade off. If you do not have $158 in your account, then you're not going to be able to do this trade, period. So keep that in mind as well. You now know exactly how much money you really need in your account. The broker is going to take out the $58, and the broker is going to require that you have at least $100 cash in your account. So this is how I work up this trade and decide if I want to do it or not. I do this on any money press that I look at, and a lot of them I reject for one reason or another. It doesn't suit my account size or something else. But this is the process we go through, and this is how we get all of our numbers. So are there any questions, Mike, that I need to address on all of this? Are we
Well, this is an ETF, just most money press trades, and the training and the material shows individual stocks. Preston has finally broken down, and he's traded ETFs a few times, but we've found that like you, ETFs trade similar to individual stocks when doing these. So the only difference, of course, is it's a basket of stocks instead of one individual, and there's no earnings date. So when doing ETFs, you're going to decide when to roll when it's getting closer to your put protection expiration.
Yeah, and this is just something, once again, that is good to learn with, because it's not an expensive trade. The majority of your money presses are going to be individual stocks, but having a few of these at times is not bad. And sometimes, last year, about the only good money press I could find was the US dollar that was going up at the time. This year it's been going down most of the year. That's why this SLV looks better. So sometimes that's all we have to choose from. But for learning, and like I said, I've seen a lot of people that are brand new to trading on our forums. This is an excellent way to learn. I find, unfortunately, I love paper trading. I paper trade stuff all the time because, one, I don't have enough money to do every trade I want to do, but it gives me a chance to at least learn how that stock reacts and moves. But your emotions are not the same when you paper trade versus real money. Your emotions will completely change when you go and use real money. So that's why I like this, because yes, you can do this as a real money trade, but at least it won't blow your account up. Some of y'all ran into trouble with Adobe, I know, a little while back. And if you have a $5,000 account and the margin is $3,000, it's going to hurt. There's no way about it. Personally, it's a trade I wouldn't have done because of the risk. But that's what you have to look at and determine what works for you. Preston doesn't know y'all's account sizes. You have to make that decision on what works. But to learn with a real money trade that should not blow up your account, this is an excellent trade to do. If you've got $5,000, it's not going to hurt your account that much. So I also, because I've seen a lot of newbies, have done here on the next slide, This is what your order ticket would look like to start this trade. Now, full disclosure, this is an order ticket from Charles Schwab. Each broker looks a little bit different, but the same principle is here. You're going to sell to open, and these words are very important. People tend to sometimes pick the wrong words here. You sell to open one contract, that's what we've been looking at, of SLV for 4/14/2023, and the strike price is 23, and we're selling a put. You don't want to sell a call, you want to sell a put. And you can see the bid is 0.46, midpoint's 0.46, so that you're going to get 46 cents for this, and the ask is 0.47. You're going to buy to open the one SLV July 21st, 22 put, and you're probably going to pay 104. You might be able to get this one for 103. I put in here a limit price of 0.57. So probably I would get that. Worst case, I'm probably going to end up paying 58 cents. But this is how your order ticket would look like. When you are starting a trade, it's always going to have the word open. That's the first step of your trade. Where people get confused is a lot of times I'll have people, they buy to open the weekly and they also buy the protection, because most of us are used to buying shares in a stock and then selling them for a profit. So they're not used to something saying sell to open first. And that's where I see some errors that occur. So I wanted to show you this order ticket. This is what it looks like. Every time you sell a weekly on Friday, it's going to be to sell to open. Next, I wanted to do, after our time on Fridays, after we've been in my week, or after I have placed the order, got it executed for myself, I like to place a good till cancel order, and I'll usually make it about 10-20% of what I received. So here in this example, I did a 0.5 cents good till cancel order that I entered after my trade was executed. This would be, the action would be now buy to close, because we sold to open, and it's the quantity would be the same, SLV, this Friday's expiration date, the same strike price, a put, but I'm just going to put down here a limit of 0.5 cents and do a good till cancel. Some of my students, just no matter what they're selling, even if they sell a option for $10, will put in a good till cancel like at 10 cents or 5 cents. You can do that. Most of these don't get executed. I had one this past week that was rather interesting, because it got executed on Tuesday morning, right at the open. And then I actually had to go away for most of Tuesday, and I came home. The stock had been trading at like 77, I think, 67, I don't remember now. And when I came home, it was trading like at 62. So I was actually very blessed in the fact that it had logged in 90% of my profit that morning, because then the stock went down. So that's why I like to do these GTCs. Our stock and option prices are constantly moving for the whole week. And if I can get out and make 90%, I'm happy. I've made my money for the week. I can either then turn around and sell next week's, or I try to wait till about Thursday or Friday again, just because if something has spiked, they usually do pull back, which is exactly what happened to my stock this week. I mean, it was very ironic. I couldn't have expected to see, or if you wanted a perfect example, it was it, and it was in the stock ASO. If you want to look at the chart on Tuesday, it opened high, closed low. but I got my weekly money out and moved on. So that's why I like to do these little GTCs and wanted to show and share this with you. Next, this is what it's going to look like on Fridays. If your GTC hasn't executed, you're going to roll this. As Mike talked about earlier, he always rolls his options. And so what we would do is we'd buy to close our one SLV 414, the 23 strike, and it's a put, and I didn't put any prices here because I have no clue what this will be trading at next Friday. I do not have that crystal ball. If someone does, please share it with me. We will then come and sell one 421. I really don't know if we'll be selling the 23 strike or the 24 or the 22 at the moment, but we will sell the strike that's closest to the current price of the stock. And you should have a credit if all goes well. But if it's been a bad week, then you'll have a debit. But this is what your ticket to roll the options will look like. And so I just wanted to go through this process very slowly with y'all to see if it would help you understand the mechanics and how we decide what strikes we're going to do and what orders we're going to do for a money press. Has this helped, Mike? Are there any questions I need to address before I move on to some fun seasonal trades?
So with this example, like you said, it's a great learning tool with silver. People are asking a dollar spread. That's not very, I mean, that's the minimum you can do, really. But also, it's the less risky. Understanding that your maximum loss is determined on the spread between the sold put and bought protection, plus the cost that you traded initially. So, I mean, the maximum loss in this example is $100 per contract. Very minimal. It's a safe trade. Silver does not move a lot very often. The price range per day is pretty minimal. So, and that's why you see the option prices not very high. It's just not.
Okay, I see a few people interested in GTC, so we'll go back to this real fast. Or actually, I'll start here. Okay, so when I'm starting a money press, this is what we're going to have. I've done my order ticket. I've sold my weekly. The broker has paid me 46 cents. So I'm then going to go and put an order in, which would be buy to close. I'm going to look at what I received, which was 46 cents. And easy math, I always do 10%. In this example, would be like 4 cents, 5 cents, sort of rounded up. If it had been $1, it would be 10 cents. So that's how 10% is just easy math. If you want to do 20%, you could do 20%. I have no problem with that. I have a couple of students, they love to do, once they hit 75%, they're happy. That's a personal choice. But what I do after, the order's executed, you got to make sure the order's executed first. I'll just go in on Friday afternoon. The last thing I do each Friday is go in and put my, what I call GTC, good till cancel orders. And I'll take the 10% value here. So I typed in 5 cents. And most of your order tickets will always say day. I think probably, yeah, see right here, this one said timing is day. So what I do is I change that day till good till cancel. This order stays, you'll stay under your tab for trades under open orders until it executes. And like I said, majority of my good till cancel orders do not execute. I have to usually go back in on the Friday of expiration and cancel them or adjust the price to whatever the option is worth at that time. But it's nice to have this in place. I can go off. I don't have to babysit the option. I don't have to worry about it. I don't even look at them till Friday. If they've executed, fine. If not, I've really, by doing the journal and knowing my maximum loss, it has made me have the patience to not look at these money presses till Friday. Because I know the Friday before that the most I could lose is $158. So I'm not really worried about the trade. I want to give it the time to play out and do. If this good till cancel gets executed on Monday or Tuesday, I'm happy. That's great. I'll look at the trade again on Thursday or Friday to sell the following week. But it's just a nice little built-in way to do stuff because, like I said, I had a perfect example of a stock that had Monday and Tuesday. It had strong days. By the end of Tuesday, it was going down for the rest of the week. So if you can take that profit early, then take it. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's the good till cancel order. It's once again, it's a disciplined habit that I have developed after I sell my weeklies. So that's why I wanted to share that with y'all. And hopefully I know I talked about it a little bit back at Christmas, and I think some of the WOW people started doing it and they liked it. So hopefully if you haven't tried it, try it.